Look who it is, guys. It's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, stopping bank robberies and saving old ladies from muggers in Queens. And, in the case of Avengers Infinity War, fighting cosmic telekinetic space wizards who look like Squidward and going up against prune-chinned brutes with the powers of a god in outer space. Anyway, Spider-Man possesses a lot of cool powers. He always has. But it turns out one of those powers is the ability to sense death itself. In this video, we'll examine the deeper implications of this new ability, and how it might foreshadow events to come in the MCU. Be warned, however, this video contains Infinity War spoilers. With great power comes great responsibility, and it's your responsibility to hit that subscribe button, so you never miss out on any of Screen Rant's great new videos. So go ahead and do it. Click that red button.
Big fan of Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Hey, everyone.
If you're even remotely familiar with Marvel's Spider-Man, you'll obviously know what his powers are as well. The Webbed Wonder possesses super strength, super speed, super agility, and super durability. He can stick to walls and ceilings, which enables him to crawl along them, and he can fire extremely strong and sticky webbing from his wrist-mounted web shooters. But he also has an extremely potent sixth sense that is known as his spider sense. An early scene in Avengers Infinity War saw Peter Parker's spider sense kick in properly for the first time. The young superhero was riding in the school bus, in a scene you can probably all remember from the movie's trailers, when the hairs on his arms stood on end, just as the Q-ship belonging to Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian appeared above New York City. This is a fairly normal occurrence for Spider-Man and other media, as the spider sense has been warning him of imminent danger in comic books, previous live-action movies, and TV shows for years. But it was indicative of Tom Holland's version developing new powers as he matured in the MCU. Fans loved it. Little Tommy's Spidey was truly coming of age. After assisting Tony Stark's team in Captain America Civil War, kicking Vulture's butt in Spider-Man Homecoming, and being offered a place on the Avengers roster, he was finally getting the whole package of Spider-Man's classic powers. But the climactic scenes of Avengers Infinity War made some fans think his powers had a little something extra.
Dude, what are you doing?
The MCU's version of the character has a more honed version of the spider sense that can even sense the impending death of its possessor. When Thanos clicked his fingers and half all life in the universe disappeared, a plethora of beloved MCU characters faded from existence. Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, Groot, Bucky Barnes, Sam Wilson, Drax, and Mantis were among them, but so was Spider-Man. Spidey had just been fighting alongside Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and the Guardians of the Galaxy on Thanos' homeworld of Titan, as the group unsuccessfully attempted to remove the Infinity Gauntlet from the prune-chinned warlord's hand. He was pretty downbeat to begin with, which was understandable given the group's failure, but things quickly got even worse for him as he became one of the unlucky 50%. But Spidey's demise was different to that of the other characters. While Bucky and company started to feel weird prior to their deletion from existence, they didn't actually realize what was happening to them until their body parts literally started turning to nothingness before their eyes. Peter Parker, however, realized exactly what was happening before he even began to fade away. While his body was still completely intact, he grabbed onto Tony Stark and said, "I don't want to go," suggesting that he knew exactly what was about to happen to him, which was pretty heartbreaking to say the least, as Tom Holland put in an incredibly emotional and apparently improvised performance for the scene. In the comic books, as a general rule, death sensing hasn't ever really been what the spider sense is all about. The power has merely been presented as an intuitive sense of something bad about to happen. Exactly when, what, or which direction it's coming from is never specified. In fact, Spider-Man has died on several occasions in the comics without any suggestion that he knew it was coming. But we can look to the comics to aid this theory a little bit, specifically to an item known as the Web of Life and Destiny, and the concept of spider totems, which have occasionally been touched upon in Spider-Man's stories over the years. The whole thing about sensing danger can be explained by the concept of trichobothria, which involves tiny hairs on a spider's body sensing movement, especially movement of an irregular or unusual nature. But that doesn't explain the MCU Spider-Man's apparent ability to sense impending death or potential changes in the very fabric of reality itself. The explanation could, however, come in the form of Peter Parker's connection to a supernatural force beyond his current understanding. A supernatural force that links him to the aforementioned Web of Life and Destiny. The Web of Life and Destiny is a three-dimensional construct in five-dimensional space that acts as a model of the entire multiverse and enables travel between realities. It's maintained by a being known as the Master Weaver and a group of totemic spider deities. and it was used by a clan of totemic hiders called the Inheritors to hunt down spider people from different realities in order to feed on their energies, Spider-Man included. While we haven't been introduced to it in the MCU, did we see Spidey's link to it in action for the first time prior to his death in Infinity War? And will we see the concept introduced in future movies following his inevitable resurrection in the as-yet untitled fourth Avengers offering? Only time will tell, but it's an exciting potential prospect, and it would certainly differentiate this live-action Spidey's mythology from those who came before him, back when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield wore the iconic red and blue costume. Maybe the Inheritors could be the villains in the future Spider-Man movie, with Spidey teaming up with spider people from different realities in order to defeat them. Wouldn't that be cool? More to the point, could this power link in with a future Thanos story in the MCU? If the comic books are anything to go by, it's a distinct possibility. Death is an integral part of Thanos' very existence in the source material, and if that becomes a thing in the MCU, Spider-Man's apparent ability could have significant implications going forward. Those of you who might not be in the know, in the comics, Thanos is absolutely obsessed with death. But that has a very ambiguous meaning in the case of the Mad Titan. Not only does he secretly want to die, he's also literally in love with a character called Mistress Death, the physical personification of the concept of death in the Marvel Universe, who's an incredibly powerful cosmic being in her own right. His love of death was actually hinted towards in his first MCU appearance, in the mid-credit scene of 2012's Avengers movie, when his servant, the Other, suggested that challenging the human race was to court death, which resulted in a smile appearing on the face of the purple villain. That love hasn't yet transpired in the MCU, however, and his motive for wiping out half of all life in the universe in Infinity War was to bring balance to it, rather than to impress Mistress Death, like it was in the 1991 Infinity Gauntlet comic book arc. But Thanos might still have a big future in the MCU. The Avengers and their allies will certainly be looking to undo his actions in the Infinity War sequel, and they'll no doubt be looking for revenge on the Mad Titan at the same time, so he'll definitely be appearing again. Now that he's achieved his goal, could his next MCU arc involve death? Might he be looking to die himself, now that he's got nothing left to attain in life and has lost everybody close to him? Or could his next move involve attempting to impress Mistress Death like he tries to do so often in the comics? If the ominous cloaked character was ever introduced to the MCU, Spider-Man's apparent ability to sense death might enable him to sense her very presence, and it could entangle him into the story in a very intrinsic way. It's certainly an intriguing thought, but it's definitely not one that Spidey will be wanting to think about. He's already died once after all.
Yeah, of course it is.
And that's the end of our video. Did you enjoy it? Do you believe Tom Holland's Spider-Man can sense death itself? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos just like this one. Bye for now.